Hey Yaki gang, Yakitori guy here, and I hope everyone has been enjoying all the videos so far in the How to Make Yakitori Home series. It's been a creative pleasure of mine to basically come up with ways to take my professional routine and simplify the methods so that you guys can follow along and make really delicious yakitori at home. Now, I know the videos are long, but I packed them with lots of details, lots of information, mainly because I want you guys to learn quickly and develop quickly, much quicker than I have ever. Basically, everything that I've learned over the 2.5 years, I've packed it into these videos so that in a few hours, you're gonna learn everything that I've learned so far. Now, for today's lesson, this is the final in the series of the skewering. So we have here the last pieces from our chicken breakdown. So we have Seseri, which is the neck, Bonjiri, which is the tail, and Kawa, which is the skin. Now these are the rare parts, but really favorites among yakitori diners in Japan. You got the neck, it's gonna be very chewy but flavorful. The tail, it is fatty and juicy. And then the skin, if you skewer it right and grill it right, it's gonna be juicy, fatty, crunchy. It's just a very delightful skewer. So I wanna teach you guys how to work with these items. Now, the skin especially, it is one of the trickiest items to skewer, which is why I left this to the very end of our lessons. It's also normally in my classes that I teach the last item we skewer, and that way the tenders, the thighs, the breasts, all of that prepares you guys in handling all the different, let's say, slippery parts of meat, small parts of meat, big meat, small meat, all of that. Now it's going to prepare you to be able to take on the last final challenge of the skin. So we have everything we need to get skewering of these. So we have our large cutting board, plastic cutting board that you can easily clean. We have our sharp knives and the skewers that we're going to be using. So far we've been using these round skewers and paddle skewers, and that's what we're going to be using today. But especially for the skin skewers, I'm going to recommend, if you guys can get these paddle skewers. These are the teppoguchi, the rifle skewers, and these are a little bit thicker, stronger, and it allows you so that you can easily poke through the skin. The skin is very fatty, it gets wet as it gets warmer, and your round skewers, it can start getting dull and it makes it really hard to skewer the last few pieces, whereas the paddle skewer, it's gonna last a little bit longer. So we can definitely skewer the skin with these round skewers, but if you have a choice or if you're having difficulties skewering with the round skewers, next time try with the paddle skewer. It should be easier for you. So now that we have everything, let's get to skewering. So we have here the neck. This is what we trimmed off the whole chicken using that zigzag pattern to get all the top and side pieces of meat. So traditionally, at a yakitori shop, let's say in Japan, you're gonna have a bunch of these necks, and it's gonna make up a nice long neck skewer. However, in this case, if you're only breaking down one chicken at home, you're not gonna have a lot of this neck. So what I like to do for myself, when I'm only using one chicken, I like to combine pieces that are very similar in texture or flavor profiles to make my combination skewer. So today we're going to be taking this neck, but combining it with the furisode, basically the shoulder part, as well as the butt, cartilagey butt area. And so the neck though, I do want to show you guys how traditionally it will be prepared. So the neck, there's sort of two sides to it. In the middle, you'll just cut this apart. Sometimes when you're trimming that neck off the chicken, you might get some of these bones, so make sure to trim that bone off. The whole point would be when you're carving that neck off the chicken, you try your hardest not to get the bone, but sometimes if you're carving into it deep, you might get some of the bones, but that's fine. You can definitely remove it at this stage. Now, traditionally, in the shops in Japan, these necks, they'll be cut maybe about 1 inch thick or inch wide, and you're gonna lay them out like this. And imagine if you had a bunch of neck, you'll be able to make a skewer of just neck stacked up basically like this. So imagine if you had a skewer and you just stack it through, that would be a traditional neck skewer. However, in this case, I want to make the neck basically be used as much as possible. So we're going to split this neck into two skewers by combining it with the bottom, basically the butt tail area. I showed this during the chicken breakdown video. So just gonna roll it like we've done with the chicken thighs or the chicken tenders. And then I have here, this is the furisode. This one, I'm actually gonna sort of weave it up and down. Nope, I got a broken skewer. Let's try again. So I'm gonna skewer this. Basically, I'm gonna poke down and then poke up. And then poke down and poke up, poke down. So it's a sort of a weaving pattern. And this is actually really good practice for the skin that we're gonna be using the same weaving pattern. So once we got this butt area and then the shoulder in, I'm gonna take some of this neck, stack tie. And now we have the skewer, basically butt, and then the back, and then the neck. So this is combination skewer. Let's go ahead and do another one. Take this butt area. So there's some cartilage here. It's basically sort of the butt area cartilage. It is thigh meat, but it's close to the sort of the butt area and got some cartilage. So it's very crunchy. So it really matches well with the neck, which is also going to be muscular and crunchy as well. So we put this in. Now we're going to go with the furisode, the shoulder area. So this is down and up and down and up here. Then we're going to finish it off with these necks. Okay, right here. So we have basically butt, shoulder, and then the neck. And as I said, this is a combination. Normally in Japan, you'll probably just have just the neck part, but this would be stacked to take up a whole skewer. We don't have that much neck. It's combining it right here. All right, next thing, another combination skewer that I'm going to show you guys. We have, this is the Bonjiri, the chicken tail. Now the chicken tail, normally if you were to butcher this chicken yourself, so this is the Mary's chicken tail. Right here you see something missing. There's actually a bump right here traditionally on the chicken if you were to get this. Right here they call it the aburatsubo, basically meaning sort of like fat or oil jar. And right here would be a round sort of bump area. And there's a hole there where it basically releases the oils that the bird needs to basically cover its feather, to protect the feather. So that's why they call this essentially like the oil jar. So, but when I get this from Mary's, they always chop that off. That aburatsubo, the oil jar, is actually a really good skewer in Japan. Very, very, very fatty. But the tail right here, these sides, similar to aburatsubo. There is a bone in the middle. So what we're gonna do to prepare the tail is basically just cut to the side and then cut to the side. So basically we just cut off the two soft parts next to the tail, which is sort of a, if you can imagine, it's a triangle right here. So we have these two triangles. I'm gonna discard this. And then, now this will normally be maybe 5 or 6 of these stacked up into one long skewer. We only have 2 of these, so we're gonna make a combination skewer. So for this combination skewer, I'm gonna take these chicken oysters and basically these are the inner thighs. So all of this is from the chicken thigh, the negima video, where I showed you guys where the oysters are, as well as the inner thigh. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna take the tail, basically if the tail was a triangle, starting at the bottom of the triangle. Now for this inner thigh, I'm gonna, like I do with a lot of my thigh pieces, roll it over, basically create that nice fold dome so it's nice and poofy. And then same thing with the oysters, poke skin first, roll it over and roll it through. So we have here tail, inner thigh, and oysters. Go ahead and do the same on this one. So tail, inner thigh, poke through the bottom into the skin, into the meat, roll it, and then pierce through the skin right here. So if this is a combination of crunchy, I like to say this is a combination skewer of all the tender soft parts. The tail, the inner thigh, the oysters, very soft parts right here. All right, so we're gonna move forward to now the most challenging part of these lessons. We are gonna do the chicken skin. Now, I have here, these are the chicken breast skins right here. So this is what we took off from the chicken, kind of like taking off the shirt off the chicken. So this actually spreads out pretty wide. So this is the breast skin. We also have here, this is the butt skin. Japan, they call this pita. Very, very fatty. So you can see that it's very spongy compared to the breast skin. And we also have here, I have basically the back skin, a little bit of the neck skin right here. And then this is the belly skin, the belly meat, and we have two of those. This is what we got from the chickens earlier, the whole chicken earlier. So I'm gonna put these belly skin, butt meat, or the butt skin and the back skin away for now, because I'm gonna show you guys how we're gonna prepare this breast skin. Now, many shops can prepare this differently, so keep in mind that this is just my way of preparing the chicken skin. However, one thing that is definitely common among all the shops, all the kodawari, the craftsman shop, is that they're gonna pack the skewer, the chicken skin skewer, they're gonna pack it tight. And what I mean by tight is, for example, I'm gonna take all this breast skin, I may have some left over, but most of this I'm gonna pack into one skewer. And I stress that because basically what that's gonna give you is crispy on the outside, but really meaty and a nice bite on the inside by packing a lot of skin. And there's a lot of shops that I've been to, or I've seen at least photos online here in the States, where they might not pack as much skin. And I think the reason is they're just trying to save some money, basically not packing this, so making one of these breast skin maybe last 2 or 3 skewers. And you know, you're not gonna get the best crunch and chewiness. And now, if you're making it at home, you can make it the very best version yourself. So let's go ahead and take this breast skin and make it the very best version of the skin we can. So right here, we laid it out basically as flat and wide as possible. And then we're gonna cut them about inch wide strips. So you're gonna have to go really, make sure to go very confident with your knife, so it's gonna spread out. There's some small membranes here, you have to make sure that comes apart. So make sure to just cut really with confidence into that cut. Also make sure your knife is sharp so that it can cut all the way through the skin. So I like to go over just twice just to make sure it's cut all the way through. 1 inch wide, 1 inch wide. And so these other pieces, I'm gonna leave this on the side. If I need extra, I'll use that. But so for this one, we're gonna use this teppogushi, the paddle skewer. It's just bigger, allows me to put a little bit more force into each of the skewering, and the tip stays as sharp as possible even when I'm skewering. And one of the major advices that I can give you guys is when doing these skin skewers, you have to do it pretty quickly. I know it's gonna be hard in the beginning, so you might take some time, but the longer you take, one, the skin is gonna start releasing all the fats, all the oil, so it starts getting wet. And then when that's wet, all that wetness is gonna get on your skewer, and it's gonna make the tip much softer, and it's not gonna be as sharp, so it's gonna be harder to skewer. So, and if that happens, you might just have to take it all out and grab another skewer. So with skin, definitely just have to approach this with a lot of confidence. And so when you start, you take the end of the skewer or the skin right here and the tip. I'm gonna poke it down and poke it up, squeeze down, and then squeeze down. As I do that, I'm pushing in the skin down. And then we do the same thing. So poke into the cutting board and poke up, poke into the cutting board, poke up, poke into the cutting board. So it's a weaving action. And once you get one down, you just move it down. So right here, you can already see that it's basically sort of this folded pattern let's call it accordion. And even when I'm talking, I'm gonna wanna get back into it because right now my skewer is getting wet, the skin's getting soft, and it's gonna be much harder to poke through. Now, another advice I can give you to make this easier. So if this skin starts getting wet, put this back in the fridge or put it in the freezer for a few minutes. It's gonna just get it cold and tighten things back up. So definitely skin is one of the trickiest, but if you do it quickly or leave this cold, put it in the freezer for a bit before you start skewering, that's gonna help you. But other than that, once you start skewering, you're just gonna have to go for it. Don't take your time, you just have to go at it, up and down, pack it in, squeeze it. Then basically you're gonna get something like this. So this is all essentially that massive breast all into one skewer. And this is how I serve it. This is how a lot of shops in Japan are gonna serve it. It's very heavy. It's not two of those strips just stretched down into a skewer. And that way, if you can see from the side, the top and bottom, it's gonna get nice and crispy. The side's gonna get crispy, but when you bite into it, it's gonna be a nice meaty feel. So this is basically the way I enjoy my chicken skin, and hopefully you guys will like it too. So a lot of the shops in Japan, they're gonna serve you chicken skin like that. Now, in Japan, every morning, a butcher can deliver you bags of chicken skins. So in the mornings, we can make a bunch of these chicken skins. However, since we broke down a whole chicken and we're limited on the chicken skins, every skin we can use, we're gonna try to use. So in this case, we have the back, the butt, and then the belly right here. So we're gonna try to use these. We're gonna have to combine it. And I think that's totally okay too, just like how we combined our breast, our neck, and then the shoulders, and then the butt area, and then the oysters. All these are combined. We can definitely combine the skins and enjoy different textures. And what I mean by different textures, for example, the pita or the butt area, it's nice and fatty. So it's gonna be a little bit different from the breast skewer. It's gonna be a little bit different from the back skewer. It's gonna be a little bit different from this belly part. And so you can enjoy different textures from the same skewer in this combination skewer. Now what I'm doing right now, there's some feathers on here, just taking them out. Sometimes these come with feathers, sometimes the feathers are all taken out, but if I see any extra, I'm just gonna pull them out. Sometimes it might burn off, but if it doesn't, it's just hard part, the feather. You don't really wanna eat that, so pull them out. So I like to align this. I'm gonna have basically the butt and the belly and the belly and in the back. And then same thing, we always want it to be easier to skewer, so I'm gonna cut these into about an inch, put this into about an inch width. Once again, I'm gonna use the paddle skewer. So I'm gonna start with the smallest piece of the butt skin and then move on up to the second piece of the butt skin. So same thing that I did with the breast skin, just the same weaving pattern. Now for this part, this is harami right here. This is belly meat. It's not skin, but for this case, I include this in. It's a very thin membrane. It sort of cooks up just similar to skin. So it adds like a nice meaty texture on top of the fatty skin texture. So I'm gonna use this as part of my combination. So this is just sort of my original way that I've been doing it. If you have a bunch of these harami, let's say you have 10 of these, and you can just cut out these triangles of just the belly meat, you can definitely make a harami skewer from it, which is really nice and chewy and flavorful, very similar to the neck. So the harami and neck are very similar in texture and flavor. But in this case, I'm gonna now poke through, just do the same weaving action. If you can see, basically I'm similar to a lot of other skewers, I'm just using my two fingers, that whole sort of shooting pull method of just scrunching it and pushing it down. Same thing here, scrunching it, pushing it down, scrunching it, pushing it down. And so I got basically the two belly skins, the belly meat, belly skin on there. I'm gonna top it off with basically, this is the back skin, and then top it off another layer of the back skin. Okay, and I also had this leftover, this is like neck area, so I'm just gonna top it off with that. And then what ended up happening is basically we have butt skin, belly skin, shoulder skin, and neck skin. So this is kind of the whole back and belly side of the chicken in terms of skin. So if we combine essentially right here, this is all the skin of the chicken minus the skin that we left on the wings as well as the chicken thigh. So all the other skin right here, we packed it into 2 skewers. And for me, I like to keep this one nice and narrow. I might trim a little bit right here just to keep it nice and narrow. And this one, I kind of like it to have it nice and big in a sense of I can tell the difference between, oh, this is the breast skewer and this is the combination skewer. However, this is going to be a little too wide, especially these parts are here. So I'm going to cut these off right here. But as you can see, it's still a little bit kind of big and fat, just so when I'm cooking it, I know that this is the breast skin and these are the combinations. So when I serve it, I know which is which, and I can let my guests enjoy all the different textures, especially in this combination skewer. So right here, we have the skins. Now, I do want to show you guys, because especially if you tried this skin skewering method at home, it might be kind of tough to, especially if you see my hands, they're getting wet from just the skin right here. So it might, your skewer might get soggy, it might get hard. I do want to show you another technique that some shops, so I want to say it's pretty split among the Japanese yakitori shops. So this, we call it, let's say, the raw way, keeping the skin raw and skewering it. This retains pretty much all the fats and all the flavors. So I prefer this method. The shops that I was working at, we do it this method. However, I've definitely seen other shops, they will do what's called, basically you take the skin and you boil it maybe 30 seconds to a minute, and then you quickly put it in ice water, and that way it's gonna actually boil out a lot of the excess fats and oils from the skin to make it easier to skewer. And I've actually did that, so I want to show you guys what I have here. So these are actually all the skin pieces. We have here, for example, the butt area. I see this is the belly, and then this is the back area, and all of these are the breast part. So imagine like the big sheet of breasts we had, and I just sliced them about 1 inch thick, and I quickly boiled them for about 30 seconds, and I put them in ice water. And I wanted to show you guys the difference between, this is just 30 seconds of basically boiling, but it's definitely harder, not as oilier, so it's going to be easier to skewer. And some of the shops, even some of the Michelin star shops in Japan, the high level shops, they'll do it this way, and they can still make it becomes really good chicken skin skewers. However, sort of my philosophy is it still loses some of the flavor, so I'm gonna go with this method even if it's a little bit trickier. But I definitely wanted to show this blanch style method, and we'll go ahead and skewer these. And definitely they shriveled up, even though I cut them at 1 inch, they shriveled up. So if you want, you can cut them a little bit longer. But I wanted to show you now with these boiled, it's possible to now skewer them even with these round skewers. So I kind of wanted to show you this as an example of, hey, you guys can still do chicken skin skewering even with the round skewers. Now, because these are a little bit longer strips, what I'm gonna end up doing is, instead of doing the weaving pattern, I'm gonna sort of do it side to side pattern and pack as much as possible. Still, I wanna get it about 1 inch width. So let's keep on packing these up. Side to side. If these are a little bit longer, I can definitely do the weaving method, which I can do with some of these final pieces. And for these ones, I can definitely do the weaving method. Do this one side to side. Side to side. So this is just another method of it being very meaty and packed skin skewer. This is the boiled method. Now I have these other pieces, including the harami. So I'll go ahead. This is the butt. So go ahead, and this one we can go ahead and do the weaving method. And as I said, now that they're boiled, it's going to be easier to skewer. So I can still I can use these round skewers and just do the weaving method. So just poke down on the bottom, pinch, poke through. This is the harami, the belly. So I'm going to poke through. Same thing here, poke on the bottom, pinch, weave up and down. Here, poke down. Same thing that we did with these skewers, just weaving method. Okay, so here you go. So we have here basically the boiled skins that we're able to even skewer with these round skewers. And then we have the raw skins. So this is breast skin combination, and for that I definitely recommend using the paddle skewer. It just, even you can see that it started getting a little bit softer at the tips already, just from the wetness. And then for basically the tails, the bonjiri, we combine them into basically right here. This is a combination of tail and then the inner thigh and oysters. And then for the neck, what would normally be one neck skewer, we combine them into neck and the shoulder and then the butt area right here. So these are all the skewers. And this is essentially all the meat. If we combine these skewers along with the chicken breasts and the wings from the last week's video and the prior week's the thigh videos, we've essentially skewered every part of the chicken pieces we got from the whole chicken. So here we are, just wipe hands, wipe knife, and we're done. So we got the necks skewered, we got the tail skewered, and then we got the skin skewered. So these are the last remaining parts from the whole chicken that we haven't skewered yet. So definitely, if you guys have made it this far, congratulate yourself. You're able to make the skewers from all the parts, the thighs, the drumstick, the breast, tenders, wings, and now these parts. So we've completed the yakitori that we can make from a whole chicken. Now there are other pieces that you guys might like, especially like the innards, the heart, gizzard, liver. A lot of times when you buy the whole chicken, it doesn't come with those pieces, so I'm not gonna cover those. I wanna move forward now because I know you guys are hungry, I'm hungry, let's get these on the grill. So for the next video, it's gonna be focused on taking these skewers and how I grilled them. Everything about how I salt them, how I spray sake on them, when I flip and rotate them. I wanna teach you guys how I use my indoor grills to make yakitori at home. So definitely, as I said, congratulate yourself. You made it this far. Hours of videos you've gone through. Hopefully you guys have a chance to, if you're not sure about stuff, go back to those other videos and rewatch them. But if you still have any other questions, feel free to question or comment below. Always ask me any questions by DM. If you follow me on Instagram, just DM me anytime. I'm happy to help answer anything I can. Just really happy to just see the progress you guys are making. A lot of you guys are sharing photos of me, tagging me on Instagram, and it's been cool to just see, even in the past 3 weeks, maybe it's your second or third chicken that you guys have broken down, and it's definitely getting cleaner and the skewers are looking nice. So I hope these crash courses essentially on making yakitori skewers, it really helps you get up to speed to make really good yakitori. So once again, if you guys have not yet subscribed to the channel, please do so. Tell all your friends, family, anyone who loves Japanese food, yakitori, or even just making chicken at home, just forward this channel. I'm all about spreading yakitori culture. If you guys have Instagram, make sure to follow me. There's a lot of behind the scene footage that I share on that. So definitely just looking forward to growing with you guys, growing this community, seeing what you guys develop. And every week, I'm just happy to create these videos to show you guys how to make better yakitori at home. So that's it for today. I will see you guys next week. All right, bye.